Long before sunrise, before the first truck is even loaded, the most critical decision in a commercial feedlot is already underway. This is the morning feed call. It is a calculated command, recorded for every pen, that dictates the exact quantity of feed to be delivered during the next feeding cycle. Feed is the single largest operating expense in this entire system. If a manager overestimates that allocation, the errors compound quickly. Across thousands of cattle, even a tiny daily miscalculation spirals into severe financial losses from spoilage and wasted rations. But underestimating the allocation carries its own severe risks. Inadequate feed stalls animal growth. It creates a stressful environment and triggers fierce, unnecessary competition within the pen. This illustrates the biological danger of fluctuating feed calls inside a bovine rumen. When feed intake swings wildly from day to day, the fermentation process collapses, plummeting the stomach's pH into the red and causing severe digestive disturbances like acidosis. The morning feed call requires total precision. To protect both the health of the animal and the bottom line of the operation, managers rely on a mathematical algorithm of observation rather than guesswork. To solve this daily equation, managers have to start by looking backwards. By inspecting the pens early in the morning, while the cattle are calm and before fresh rations are delivered, they can evaluate yesterday's feeding results completely unaltered. This is called reading the bunk. The feed trough provides immediate physical evidence. Managers look closely at the exact quantity of feed left behind, the appearance of spoilage, whether cattle sorted the ration, and the leftover moisture level. A single unusual morning doesn't mandate an immediate change. Managers cross-reference these physical observations with historical intake logs. Tracing the intake over a period of days reveals actual trends and prevents a costly overreaction to a one-off event. The physical evidence left in the bunk, combined with the historical data from the logs, establishes the baseline for today's feed equation. Once that baseline is set, managers have to account for external environmental variables. These act as modifiers, subtracting or adding to the initial calculation. This split-screen graph maps exactly how temperature dictates animal needs. On the left, high temperatures trigger heat stress, which clearly suppresses appetite and requires a reduction in feed. On the right, cold snaps drastically spike the cattle's maintenance energy requirements, naturally driving up feed intake. Rain acts as a sharp negative modifier. It quickly ruins the palatability of the feed and accelerates deterioration right there in the bunk, ensuring the cattle will eat less than planned. But before any final adjustment is made based on weather, managers have to check one specific system: water availability. Biologically, reduced water consumption almost always equals reduced feed intake. If a pen suddenly leaves half their ration untouched, the manager might assume they have a feed problem, when in reality, they just have a broken water trough. Analyzing a feed bunk without factoring in the weather and the water systems turns a calculated decision into a dangerous guess. The final inputs for the daily algorithm come directly from the cattle themselves. Managers observe whether the herd is alert and active, or lethargic and depressed. If hospital crews report a rise in respiratory disease or lameness within a specific pen, the feed call must be adjusted downward to match their reduced capacity. Synthesizing all of this data serves one absolute objective. The goal is never to make massive reactive changes to the feed delivery. The goal is rigorous consistency. This chart compares two feeding strategies. A jagged red line illustrates reactive feeding, which constantly threatens rumen stability. Professional feedlots follow the smooth green line, favoring gradual, evidence-based adjustments. If a manager inputs a clean bunk, active cattle, and mild weather, the output is clear. The green line inches upward, resulting in a safe, modest feed increase. Solving this equation creates a precise feed allocation that matches the biological reality of that exact pen on that exact day. This systematic approach scales globally. Whether an operation relies on integrated software in massive Australian feedlots or simple written logs in growing Philippine facilities, the underlying logic is identical. Disciplined, evidence-based management consistently outperforms feeding by human habit. The objective of the morning feed call is never to force cattle to consume the maximum volume of food. The objective is to maximize the efficiency with which they utilize it. Professional managers don't arrive in the morning asking, "How much feed should we deliver?" They look at the bunks, the weather, and the logs, and ask, "What do yesterday's results mathematically dictate we do today?" Mastering the biological algorithm of the morning feed call transforms routine feeding into a deliberate science. It ensures the welfare of the herd, eliminates crippling waste, and secures the feedlot's bottom line.